Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Thursday morning. It's Stephen Whiteside here from the uptrend.com. In the pre-market this morning, stock index futures, commodities, and Bitcoin are currently trading lower. Bitcoin has now broken the $70,000 level. So on the way down, of course, we were looking at 75,000 as a potential area of support. That didn't work. Then, of course, we look at 70,000 as a round number, and so far that is not working on Thursday morning. Now, the VIX was rising yesterday. It was a very mixed market. The majority of stocks on the S&P 500 were actually up on the day, but some big cap stocks can pull the indexes down. And so there's a new high for the VIX for the S&P 500 yesterday. So while we are really focused on the software stocks being decimated at the moment, transports were up yesterday again, and they've been on a tear this week. So up over 2% once again on Wednesday. Looking at the VIX for the NASDAQ, big spike up yesterday, up nearly 11%. And of course, the world is watching software stocks continue to deteriorate in the month of February. Looking at the Russell, the VIX for the Russell was up yesterday as well. Of course, they have a lot of mining stocks, a lot of micro-cap stocks, mid-cap stocks in that index. And yesterday, the biggest loser in our world was the copper miners, down over 4.5%. So a lot of the mining stocks were down yesterday, and that helped pull the Russell down. Now, we never know what big round number is going to stop the market or act as support. We always, take them equally. We don't know if it's going to be, 50,000 on the Dow or 7,000 on the S&P 500. We just have to wait and see how the market reacts. So last week, we got up above the 7,000 level for a few minutes and then pulled back. And we have not been back up to retest it so far. That doesn't mean we're not going to retest it in the future. But this week and this morning, with futures trading lower, we are looking for a potential move down to retest the January lows. And we'll take a look at the NASDAQ in a second. But you can see that we're just one price target line away from those January lows. So it could be just one day of trading to get there. Now, the majority of the stocks in the S&P 500 were actually up yesterday. It was Infotech that led the market lower. Energy was the big winner yesterday, up over 2%. So the energy sector continuing to move higher on both sides of the border. Now, what stocks worked on the S&P 500 yesterday? Well, it was Supermicro back on a buy signal. We've got Fortive, second day of a buy signal there, up over 10%. Then Eli Lilly was the next big winner, followed by Old Dominion Freight, which of course is in the transportation sector. What didn't work? Boston Scientific fell out of the sky yesterday, down over 17% on the day. Then AppLovin, which is a big loser on a couple of indices. And so here we are on the S&P 500, down over 16%. We had a pullback in SanDisk, nearly 16% on the day. You would hardly notice it since it's had a tremendous run-up since the start of the year. Now, we talked about the equal-weighted NASDAQ the other day. It's now punched through the November lows. Forget about the January lows, December lows. We're back at the November lows. Then there's the NASDAQ 100 itself, trying to find support at 600, and that was the low from December. So we may break the December low on Thursday, and then our next target would be the November low. Now, Advanced Micro Devices looks like it's put in a double top here, and on its fourth day of a sell signal, it gapped down over 17%, and so it is trying to hold the January low, which is just above the December low, which is just above the November low. So all of those could get taken out on Thursday. AppLovin gapped lower yesterday. It's been on a sell signal since the start of the year. Palantir moved up into the channel on Tuesday. And remember, in the pre-market, it was trading in the middle of the channel. It got all the way up to the top before pulling back. It still closed higher on the day, but didn't really impress anyone. And then yesterday we moved down. And so trading well below the November low. And you can see the lower high in December. Micron was down yesterday. It's back on a sell signal. Lam Research is back on a sell signal. We had Western Digital down over 7%, but not on a sell signal just yet. Now moving on to the Canadian market, and everything was up yesterday except Infotech. And Infotech was a tale of two stocks, one going up, one going down. We'll take a look at those in a minute. It was consumer discretionary, consumer staples were the big winners yesterday. So consumer discretionary had a nice big update. It's back on a buy signal, joining consumer staples already on a buy signal. Some household names were the big winners. We had Tim Hortons back on a buy signal. We had Circle K making a new high for this move after its second day of a buy signal. No joy for Bitfarms. Anything crypto related has been getting hurt lately, so nothing surprising there. And then Shopify breaking down below 160. Looking at the TSX itself, it has been up the last couple of days, but not getting anywhere. We still haven't traded above last Friday's high. That is also true for the Vanguard Total Canada ETF. Had an inside day yesterday, so still looking to see if we can break out above last Friday's high. Now, looking at the price of gold, it has not been able to recover above 5,000. We did trade above it, but we haven't closed above it just yet. And so that is acting as resistance, and we are trading lower this morning. No joy for platinum on Wednesday. We were down on the day. Silver was up on the day, but again, dealing with resistance at 87.50. We've got support. We've got buyers at 75. If we can break out and close above 87.50, then $100 does come into play. Then looking at what worked, well, Constellation Software had a big update, but certainly it's not going to change the story for Constellation Software just yet. We're up nearly 8.5%, but given how much the stock has fallen, that's not that big a deal. And so we need a couple of days of buying before we start to see a new trend start. First Service was up over 7% on the day. It's back on a buy signal if you follow that stock. Cameco down on the day, and it's back on a sell signal as of Wednesday's close. Joining First Quantum already on a sell signal, so no change in trend there. Now, what worked on the TSX Composite? Well, it was West Fraser Timber was one of the big winners, and it was up over 7% on the day. What didn't work? Well, Energy Fuels was down on the day, so it's still on a sell signal here. No change in trend. A lot of volatility in that stock. It looks like it's putting in a double top. If you go back to the left-hand side of the screen, you'll see where we topped out back in October. Then Enerflex was down over 11%. Still on a buy signal here. We need to close on Thursday below $23.55. Now, Bitcoin 100,000 seems like a distant milestone in the past. We were looking to see when it was trading in the 90s if it could get back up to the 100 level. It did not. It was down yesterday. It's down in the pre-market this morning. And last time I looked, it is trading below 70,000. We also have Ethereum trading lower this morning. So any of the crypto-related ETFs or any of the crypto-related stocks are all heading lower this morning. What's not heading lower, the bear ETFs continue to move higher on Thursday morning. So congratulations if you're long the bear ETFs. Okay, folks, that's all for this morning's presentation. Thanks for hanging in till the end. Have a great day. Next time you'll hear my voice is on Friday morning.
Thanks for tuning in until the very end of today's stock market timing educational video. If you found the content valuable, don't forget to express your support by hitting the like button, leave a comment, sharing with your friends, and subscribing to our channel for more insightful updates. Remember, in the world of stocks, timing is crucial, and following the trend can be your greatest ally. If you would like more information on how we can help you better time the stock market, please visit theuptrend.com.